Hi guys, Boris Johnson was supposed to have resigned, but he's still sitting in number 10. And while we expect him to go, his spite for those unwilling to show sycophantic loyalty was on full display today. Tobias Ellwood, the chair of the Defence Select Committee, had the whip removed from him following his abstention from a confidence vote that Boris Johnson won in the House of Commons on Monday. Ellwood was, as you can see here, in Moldova, meeting with that country's president. But Tobias has always been a thorn in Boris Johnson's side. Check out this exchange between the two from November last year.
No, I know the numbers.
Yeah,
I know them well. But I'm trying to say that
what I'm saying to you is I disagree. I disagree.
It's a peacetime budget.
I disagree.
And we've just confirmed that the threats are growing, and therefore we cannot manage. The budget is being reduced by 0.4%. I have it here in front of me in the Red Book. The point I'm trying to say is I'm simply inviting you to recognise the growing threats that are coming over the horizon and ask you to please recognise and reconsider where the integrated view now is and what we need to prepare for.
If you're saying, Mr. Ellwood, that you think we should go back and prepare for tank battles in...
no, you're putting words into my mouth.
I don't know but you're saying that you mentioned...
But you mentioned tanks. We are cutting back on our tanks. What is amassing on the Russian border right now, on the Ukrainian border? It's tanks, arguably.
Yes, well,
but that's besides the point. I'm saying step back, look at the wider security picture, look at our defence posture, and see what needs to be done.
If you think that UK tanks are the answer, then...
No, now you're going down and
you're saying that we should commit UK tanks to the defence of Ukraine.
No. You're deliberately... I'm sorry. I'm really sorry you're taking us down this rabbit hole, because you know perfectly well it's not about
I'm not taking you down a rabbit hole.
Tanks are one element of a wide spectrum of our defence capability.
You brought up tanks, Mr. Ellwood.
Tanks.
You brought up
aircraft. 48 aircraft, F-35s. You promised 138. You've cut back to 48. You cut back on not just tanks. Warriors have been removed completely. Hercules aircraft removed completely. And then 10,000 troopers have been removed. So we can talk about tanks, or we can talk about the wider spectrum of capabilities that have been reduced. At the very time I'm trying to make clear that there are bigger threats coming over the horizon.
Yes, Prime Minister. And I think what I'm trying to make clear is I think that it's now or never for the UK Armed Forces. We have to recognise that the old concepts of fighting big tank battles on European landmass, which I think is what you're driving at, are over.
Okay, this was, of course, in relation to the growing threat from Russia. Boris Johnson saying, yeah, we don't need to deal with tanks. But this is a side issue. Boris Johnson removed the whip from Tobias Ellwood today. Because he didn't vote, well, he abstained from a vote in that Boris Johnson held for himself in his government. So there was a confidence vote on Monday. The Tories won it, or the government won it. You know, this is really weird. A really strange situation. Boris Johnson talked about resigning. I actually don't know if Boris Johnson's actually going to resign. We have this Tory leadership campaign. There's Liz Truss, there's Rishi Sunak, there are others. But we actually don't know for sure if Boris Johnson's actually going to leave office. And we saw him yesterday doing loop-the-loops, in a fighter plane, when there's supposed to be a crisis, a heatwave crisis to be dealt with, a cost of living crisis to be dealt with. What is he doing? Playing around. And then when this confidence vote was held, Tobias Ellwood abstained and Boris Johnson removed the whip from him immediately. There have been people who have abused their power, have bullied members of parliament and members of staff, and they have not had the whip removed from them immediately or at all. Tobias Ellwood, obviously he has been a thorn in Boris Johnson's side. He did not support Boris Johnson and his government. And, kudos to him for doing that, for abstaining. He could have voted no against the government or voted yes in support of the no confidence vote. But at least he abstained and he had the whip removed. Boris Johnson is just removing people who disagree with him before he leaves, if he's actually going to leave. So it's going to be interesting who else is going to have the whip removed, and it's going to be interesting what's going to happen to Tobias Ellwood. Is he going to cross the aisle? Is he going to create problems for Boris Johnson? It'll be interesting. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks. Thanks a lot.